Manchester United enters 2026 in a state that feels all too familiar. For over a decade, it has been the same story: instability, skepticism, and a complete lack of direction. Following the departure of Ruben Amorim, the team has collapsed, both in results and morale. The dressing room is fractured, the playing style is undefined, and fan faith has hit rock bottom after a string of devastating performances. In the midst of this chaos, the appointment of Michael Carrick as interim manager is seen as nothing more than a desperate firefighting measure, a temporary band-aid rather than a long-term strategic solution. His initial mandate was simple: stabilize the ship, patch up the cracks, and limp to the end of the season with as little damage as possible. But in just over a short month, everything shifted in a way even the most optimistic fan couldn't have predicted. Consecutive victories over Fulham, Man City, Arsenal, and Tottenham catapulted United up the table and completely transformed the atmosphere around Old Trafford. The question quickly evolved from, can Carrick survive? To a much bigger, more complex issue. Is Michael Carrick worthy of becoming the long-term manager of Manchester United? The United board now faces a difficult dilemma. Should they reward this temporary emotional high, or stick to strict criteria for a strategic appointment that will define the club's future for years to come? If there's one argument for Carrick being discussed in the corridors of Old Trafford, it's the cold, hard numbers on the pitch. 4 consecutive Premier League wins, 3 of which came against Big Six rivals, were enough to turn the tide of a season that was spiraling out of control. Looking at the broader 2025-26 season, the Red Devils' record against the Big Six is impressive. After 8 games, they have 5 wins, 1 draw, and only 2 losses, scoring a total of 13 goals. This is a superior performance compared to many direct rivals, proving that United under Carrick doesn't just survive against big teams, they know how to exploit key moments. However, results are never the only metric. The United hierarchy is united on one point: no appointment will be made based solely on a few wins. No matter how impressive, past lessons remain painful reminders of how hasty choices led to wasted seasons. Therefore, on-field success right now is a necessary condition, but not a sufficient one to guarantee Carrick a long-term contract. In every internal discussion at Old Trafford, the Champions League isn't just a target, it's a red line. According to reports from The Times and the BBC, a Champions League ticket is the key condition in every scenario regarding the future of the Manchester United dugout. Secure Champions League football, and the conversation continues. Miss it, and all other positive assessments become fragile. For United, the Champions League has never been just a tournament. It is a vital financial lifeline, from TV rights and prize money to balancing the wage bill and transfer budget. It's also the magnet for the transfer market. Elite players rarely sign for a club missing from Europe's most prestigious stage. In this context, Michael Carrick has achieved the most important thing: bringing United within touching distance of the Champions League. But the key lies in how United is operating. Carrick's team no longer plays in a state of chaos, nor does it rely purely on moments of individual brilliance. Instead, we see the ability to control the tempo, effective defending with a clearly organized mid-low block, and lethal danger in quick transitions. United doesn't need to dominate possession, but they know exactly when to accelerate and when to suffocate the game. What Manchester United has lacked most for years isn't talent or ambition, it's stability. And that is exactly what Michael Carrick has delivered. Under his watch, United might not be displaying revolutionary tactics, but the team has a clear shape, structure, and a foundation to lean on when matches get complicated. Carrick typically rotates between 4-4-1-1 and 4-2-3-1 systems, flexible enough to adapt to the opponent. Notably, he doesn't chase dogma. He doesn't force the team to keep possession at all costs, nor does he demand high-intensity pressing for 90 minutes. Instead, he prioritizes organization, positional discipline, and role clarity. Who holds the rhythm? Who covers? Who takes risks? Everything is defined, minimizing errors caused by individual improvisation. This clarity has created a crucial effect. The players are finally playing with belief. Bruno Fernandes is no longer burdened with carrying the entire system on his shoulders. He has returned to his true role, the leader and creative brain at the heart of the midfield. And Kobbie Mainoo is the poster child for this revival under Carrick. From a young talent struggling to find his footing, Mainoo has become a linchpin, finally placed in a role with clear duties and defensive cover behind him. Up front, the trio of Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko aren't shackled by rigid patterns. Instead, they are deployed in a system that maximizes their individual strengths. If results are the visible tip of the iceberg, the dressing room is the silent, decisive factor for any manager at Old Trafford. Gary Neville noted that Carrick rebuilt trust almost immediately, and that wasn't just diplomatic praise. It reflects a genuine shift in how the team operates from within. Under Carrick, players listen, comply, and most importantly, believe in the tactical message being conveyed. Training sessions are sharper, on-field decisions are less impulsive, and the team's reaction to adversity shows clear synchronization. When trailing, United doesn't panic. When protecting a lead, they know how to slow the game down, maintain shape, and support each other. The contrast with the final days of Ruben Amorim is stark. Back then, the dressing room was disconnected. Tactical messages were diluted, actions contradicted words, and on the pitch, the players looked disjointed, like they weren't serving a common plan. That is the hallmark of a squad that has lost faith in its leader. Of all the conditions Manchester United has set, the toughest challenge might not come from the board or the results, but from Michael Carrick himself. Gary Neville raised a fascinating possibility. Carrick might voluntarily step aside if he feels he isn't ready for the long-term role at Old Trafford. For a giant club like United, that self-awareness is sometimes more valuable than blind ambition. Carrick isn't one to chase the spotlight. His calm, private, and somewhat stoic nature was defined during his playing days. He doesn't need titles to validate his worth, nor does he view the United job as a prize to be won at any cost. The reality, therefore, isn't a sentimental handshake. Carrick is expected to enter a fair selection process, competing squarely against proven elite managers or top coaches available in the summer. At this moment, a new contract for Michael Carrick wouldn't just be a reward for a good run of form. It represents something bigger. It is a test of United's new management philosophy, rational, systematic, and devoid of emotion. Signing Carrick, if it happens, would be a statement that the club believes in continuity, stability, and a manager who understands United from the inside, rather than chasing flashy external names. Conversely, if United chooses a different path, it proves that decisions are serving long-term interests, not fleeting pressure. Ultimately, the question isn't whether Carrick is worthy. The question is, if he guides Manchester United back to the Champions League with composure, discipline, and a clear identity, what else are you looking for? And that is the final exam, for both Michael Carrick and Manchester United.